Hello and welcome. Welcome to learning session number 6 of chapter number 3 of Science, which is chemical reactions and equations. So far, what all have we seen in this chapter? We had seen introduction and we had seen chemical and physical changes. What is chemical changes? The changes in which new bonds are formed or a few chemical bonds are broken. And what are physical changes? Changes in which state of the matter changes. Okay, example, solid state to liquid state to gaseous state, so on and so forth. Then we had seen chemical reactions through various experiments, and we had seen chemical equations, which are the representation of chemical reactions. Then we had learned how to balance chemical equations, and we had seen different types of chemical reactions. We had seen combination reactions where more than one reactants combined together to form a single product. Then we had seen decomposition reaction where one single reactant gets broken down into smaller molecules, more than one product. We had seen displacement reaction where uh, one part of a molecule leaves the original molecule and combines with some other molecule. That's displacement reaction. Double displacement reaction is a reaction in which the ions of the two reactants exchange with each other to form a precipitate. And lastly, we had seen endothermic and exothermic reactions. Endothermic reactions are reactions in which heat is absorbed during the reaction, and exothermic reactions are reactions in which heat is given away during the reaction. Then in the last learning session, we had seen factors affecting rate of chemical reaction. What is the meaning of rate? Rate means speed. Okay, कितना fast या कितना slow कोई chemical reaction is proceeding. Next, what all factors did we see? We saw nature of reactants, for example, reactivity. The reactivity of a reactant is high, then the speed of chemical reaction will be high. Size of particles of reactants. If your reactant particles are very small, then the speed of reaction will be high. If the reactant particles are large, then the speed of reaction will be low. Concentration of reactants. So if you use a strong acid, okay, or a concentrated acid, then the speed of reaction will be high. If you use dilute acid or a weak acid, then the reaction speed will be low. Then we had seen temperature of reaction. Again, we know that higher the temperature, faster the reaction, lower the temperature, slower the reaction. And finally, we had seen catalyst. What are catalysts? Those are substances which do not take part in the reaction. They do not change chemically, but they can change the speed of the reaction. Okay. Today we're going to see oxidation and reduction, and we're going to see something called as redox reaction. Your objectives for today will be students will be able to compare and contrast oxidation and reduction. Okay, compare means you should be able to tell the similarities between oxidation and reductions, and contrast means you should be able to write the difference between oxidation and reaction and reduction. Second objective for today will be students will be able to identify oxidants and reductants in a redox reaction. This will make sense only once we learn what is redox reaction. Now you won't understand that, right? Okay, as promised, before beginning any learning session in chemistry, I'm going to remind you all and ask you all to by heart this particular table. Even in today's learning session, we are going to use this table a lot in between. And to understand many chemistry concepts, you need to know what are the states of basic radicals and acidic radicals from this table. Okay, we are going to move ahead. So there is a do you know type of box given in your textbook, and I just read it. I found it very fascinating and very interesting. Okay, I think this has been omitted from your textbook because of the lockdown. They've reduced this part from your syllabus, but nonetheless, I think you should read it once. Okay. So what we can do is I can wait for 5 seconds for you to pause the video here, and when I pause the video, you can go and read all the 9 points now and here itself, so that you don't leave it for some other time. Okay, I'll wait for 5 seconds for you to read all the points. First, you can read the upper points. Okay, if you're done reading the first 7-8 points, then now you all can read the last few points. Okay, again I'll wait for 5 seconds for you to complete reading all 9 points. Okay, I hope you paused the video 2 times and have read all the 9 points. Okay, I found it all the points were very interesting to know, to be honest. The most interesting point I found was the last point. Okay, so the last point, which is point number 9, reads, the ozone layer in the Earth's atmosphere protects the life on Earth from ultraviolet radiation of sun. Okay, so sun se ultraviolet radiation bhi aata hai, and if that ultraviolet radiation touches our skin, then it is not good for our skin. Okay, but fortunately, luckily, the ozone layer around the Earth's atmosphere, it absorbs ultraviolet radiation, so it never reaches our skin. But you all must have read the news about ozone layer being depleting, right? बहुत सारी जगह पे ozone layer has become very thin, and in some places there are also holes in the ozone layer. Okay, so the next line reads, the process of depletion or maintenance of this layer depends on the rate of production or destruction of ozone molecules. Okay, so when will the ozone layer deplete completely, or will the ozone layer go back to its original state? वापस form होगा क्या? The answer to all these questions is rate of reaction. Okay, so there are two simultaneous equations going on, simultaneous reactions going on. One reaction which is going on is ozone layer ka depletion. Because of our pollution, some chemical reaction is happening and ozone layer is depleting. The other reaction which is happening is, at the same time, ozone molecules are also being produced. So ozone layer अपने आप heal भी हो रहा है, अपने आप ठीक भी हो रहा है. So here you have a reaction which is depleting the ozone layer, and the other reaction is the ozone layer is forming itself again. So who will win? Will the ozone layer get depleted, or will the ozone layer form itself again? That will depend on what is the speed of these two reactions. अगर डिप्लीशन का स्पीड ज्यादा है एंड उसका मेंटेनेंस का स्पीड कम है, तो पूरा का पूरा ओजोन लेयर is going to get depleted. But if the speed of the chemical reaction through which it is depleting is low, but the speed of chemical reaction जिससे नए ozone molecules बन रहे, that is high, then the ozone layer will come again, it will heal itself, and it should not be a problem for us. So that is the application of rate of chemical reactions. So if we study rate of chemical reactions well, scientists will be able to figure this problem out and solve this problem of ozone layer depletion. So I thought that was a very interesting point. Okay, with that, let's move ahead now. Let us see what is oxidation reaction. So the chemical reaction in which a reactant combines with oxygen or loses hydrogen to form the product is called oxidation reaction. Okay, so reactant, what are reactants? So the things which react with each other during a chemical reaction to give you a product, those are called as reactants. Okay, so when a reactant combines with oxygen, or when a reactant loses hydrogen, then it is called an oxidation reaction. Okay, so let us look at some examples. These are the examples. Okay, so if you notice, in the first two equations, the reactants are combining with oxygen. So magnesium plus oxygen, magnesium oxide. Carbon plus oxygen, carbon dioxide. So पहले दो reactions में it is combining with oxygen. In the next two reactions, hydrogen is being given out, right? ये hydrogen कहाँ से आ रहा है? Reactants में से ही आ रहा होगा. So in the next two reactions, the reactants are losing hydrogen. So it can either combine with oxygen or it can lose hydrogen. Both of them are called as oxidation reactions. So all these four reactions are oxidation reactions. Okay. Some oxidation reactions are brought about by use of specific chemical reactions. Okay, so ऐसे कुछ oxidation reactions होते हैं जो अपने आप reaction process आगे नहीं बढ़ता, तुम्हें कोई special chemical substance देना पड़ेगा तभी वो oxidation reaction proceed होता है. Okay, so let us see an example of that. So here, ethyl alcohol, this molecule is known as ethyl alcohol. We will study this in detail in our next chapter, which is carbon compounds. So this ethyl alcohol, this ethyl alcohol is being converted into acetic acid. So what is the difference between two? If you see here there is only one oxygen atom in ethyl alcohol. Here there are two oxygen atoms in acetic acid. So one oxygen is combining with ethyl alcohol, and you're getting acetic acid. So this is an oxidation reaction. कैसे पता चला oxidation reaction है? क्योंकि यहाँ पे एक ऑक्सीजन है, यहाँ पे दो ऑक्सीजन है. So अगर एक ऑक्सीजन कंबाइन हो गया रिएक्टेंट के साथ, तो we know it's a oxidation reaction. But ये अपने आप ये reaction नहीं होता. You have to give potassium dichromate, okay, in acidic form. This is what H2SO4. So you can either call this as hydrogen sulfate. SO4 is sulfate, right? So इसको हाइड्रोजन सल्फेट बोल सकते हो या फिर अ कॉमन नेम फॉर दिस इज सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड. सो एसिडिक सोल्यूशन ऑफ पोटेशियम डाइक्रोमेट. इसको पोटेशियम डाइक्रोमेट मैंने कैसे बोला, आई टोल्ड यू राइट. वो जो टेबल है ऑरेंज कलर का, दैट यू नीड टू बाय हार्ट. सो उसमें इफ यू सी K plus is potassium and Cr2O7 is dichromate. Cr2O7 is dichromate. Okay, so I know कि ये molecule का नाम क्या होगा, potassium dichromate. That's why I'm telling you all that by hearting that particular table is very important. Okay, so when you put acidic form of potassium dichromate, दोनों है. Okay, hydrochloric acid भी है और potassium dichromate भी है. Only then this oxidation, only then this reaction takes place. What does this mean? It means that such chemical substances which bring about an oxidation reaction by making oxygen available are called oxidants or oxidizing agents. Okay, so अगर ये नहीं होगा, okay, what does this mean? यहाँ पे जो स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट में ऑक्सीजन रखा है, स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट में जो ऑक्सीजन रखा है उसका मतलब है it's a single atom of oxygen. Single atom of oxygen मिलता है क्या एटमॉस्फेयर में? No. Whenever you find oxygen in the atmosphere, it is always in the form of O2. एक ऑक्सीजन का एटम दूसरे ऑक्सीजन एटम के साथ कंबाइन हो जाएगा. They will form a covalent bond, and वो ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हैं? So that their last orbit is completely filled. We had seen in periodic classification of elements, right? Whenever the last orbit is completely filled by electrons, then the atoms are more stable. So oxygen is always in the form of O2. बट ये रिएक्शन के लिए ऑक्सीजन अकेला होना चाहिए. वो इस रिएक्शन के लिए ऑक्सीजन को अकेला लाने के लिए यू हैव टू प्रोवाइड विथ पोटेशियम डाइक्रोमेट का एसिडिक सोल्यूशन. ओके, सो दिस ऑक्सीडेशन इज टेकिंग प्लेस बिकॉज ऑफ पोटेशियम डाइक्रोमेट का एसिडिक सोल्यूशन, राइट. सो इसको क्या बोलेंगे? आइदर वी कैन कॉल इट एज ऑक्सीडेंट और वी कैन कॉल इट एज ऑक्सीडाइजिंग एजेंट, कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं, क्योंकि इन सब्सटेंस की वजह से ही ethyl alcohol oxidize हुआ. So this substance will be called as oxidant or oxidizing agent. Okay, one question remains is acidic solution of potassium dichromate की वजह से ऐसा क्या होता है कि ऑक्सीजन जो O2 फॉर्म में होता है वो सिंगल O बन जाता है. So the reaction is this. Okay, when potassium dichromate reacts with sulfuric acid, this is the reaction which takes place, and because of this reaction you get three individual oxygen atoms, and that oxygen atom can then combine with ethyl alcohol to give you acetic acid. Okay, but all you need to remember is जिन substances की वजह से oxidation होता है उस substance को हम लोग oxidant बोल सकते हैं या फिर oxidizing agent बोल सकते हैं. That's all you need to remember. Okay, great. With that, let us move ahead. Just look at this particular reaction and try to study this reaction. Okay, I'm going to wait for 5 seconds. I'm going to be silent for a few seconds. I just want you to read this particular reaction and see what do you observe. Okay, I know it's a long reaction, but just look at it for some time and see if you observe anything, special. Okay, were you able to observe anything special? If not, I can help you. Look at these two molecules. What do you observe about them? Just look at these two molecules. Here is a reactant, and after the reaction, here is the product. What is so special about these two molecules? Here, FeSO4 is being converted to Fe2SO4 thrice. So कैसे read करते हैं? Fe2SO4 thrice. Okay, यहाँ पे 3 आ गया ना. 3, ये जो ब्रैकेट के बाहर 3 लिखा है उसका मतलब क्या है? SO4 के 3 molecules है. Okay, so FeSO4 is being converted to Fe2SO4 thrice. So यहाँ पे एक Fe के साथ एक सल्फेट मॉलिक्यूल है, यहाँ पे 2 Fe के साथ 3 सल्फेट मॉलिक्यूल है. ओके, सो Fe को थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा सल्फेट मिल रहा है इस रिएक्शन के वजह से. लेट मी राइट द आयोनिक रिएक्शन. ओके, आयोनिक रिएक्शन मतलब क्या? इसको आयंस में मैंने कन्वर्ट कर लिया. So in ionic reaction, I can write instead of FeSO4, I can write Fe2 plus SO4 2 minus, and here instead of Fe2SO4 thrice, I can write Fe3 plus and SO4 SO4 2 माइनस। ऐसा मैं क्यों लिख सकता हूँ? अगेन यू नीड टू रिमेंबर दैट ऑरेंज कलर का टेबल वेरी वेल। सो फेरिक Fe यानी क्या? आयन, राइट? आयन के दो स्टेट्स होते हैं। Fe के प्लस Fe का +3 स्टेट भी है एंड +2 स्टेट भी है। SO4 विच इज सल्फेट, इसका हमेशा -2 स्टेट होता है। सो यहाँ पे FeSO4 में if you see Fe also has +2 and SO4 has -2 state, so it will get cross multiplied, and because of that cross multiplication same number होते तो हम लोग उसको लिखते नहीं है, राइट? सो यहाँ पे इसका प्लस यहाँ पे आ जाएगा, सॉरी इसका 2 यहाँ पे मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएगा, इसका 2 यहाँ पे मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएगा, वी क्रॉस मल्टीप्लाई, राइट? And because it's the same number, we need not write that number, so you get Fe2 plus SO4 2 minus as FeSO4. Similarly here if you see it is in the +3 state, so +3 यहाँ पे मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएगा, इसलिए SO4 3 आ गया, एंड SO4 का -2 यहाँ पे मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएगा, इसलिए Fe2 आ गया। ओके, सो पहला ये स्टेप होता है, फिर बाद में ये स्टेप आता है। सो हम लोग ने उल्टा लिखा है। ओके, again I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. Just study this particular equation and see if you notice something. What is the difference between the reactants and the products in this particular reaction? Again, I'll wait for 5 seconds. I'm going to be silent for a few seconds. You have to analyze what is the difference between the left hand side of this reaction and right hand side of this reaction. Just try to figure that out. Okay, if you are not able to figure it out, again I'm giving you a hint. See here Fe, it is in 2 plus state, and here Fe is in 3 plus state. So state of ion has changed, right? State of ion has changed. Fe2 plus जिसको फेरस बोलते हैं, वो Fe3 plus में कन्वर्ट हो गया, जिसको फेरिक बोलते हैं। Okay, so it is also a type of oxidation reaction. Okay, so Fe has undergone oxidation brought about by KMNO4. ये किसकी वजह से ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हुआ है? KMNO4, राइट? अगर KMNO4 नहीं होता, KMNO4 प्लस सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड नहीं होता, तो ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नहीं होता, राइट? सो Fe has undergone oxidation brought about by KMNO4. Okay, KMNO4 क्या? I think it is potassium permanganate. Okay, so क्योंकि यहाँ पे ऑक्सीडेशन हो रहा है, वी हैव अ न्यू डेफिनेशन ऑफ ऑक्सीडेशन। पहले क्या हम लोग ने डेफिनेशन पढ़ा था? आइदर व्हेन अ रिएक्टेंट कंबाइंस विद ऑक्सीजन और व्हेन अ रिएक्टेंट लूजेस हाइड्रोजन, इट इज ऑक्सीडेशन रिएक्शन। बट यहाँ पे क्लियरली नहीं दिख रहा, राइट? ऑक्सीजन कंबाइन भी नहीं हो रहा है और हाइड्रोजन रिलीज भी नहीं हो रहा है, दोनों में से कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है, बट फिर भी ऑक्सीडेशन रिएक्शन है। सो हमें अभी अपना डेफिनेशन चेंज करना पड़ेगा ऑक्सीडेशन का। So what is the new definition for oxidation? Oxidation means losing one or more electrons. Okay, यहाँ पे electrons lose हो रहे हैं क्या? Electrons यहाँ पे lose हो रहे हैं। समझो यहाँ पे Fe2 plus में से एक इलेक्ट्रॉन चला गया, so if negative charge is going away, it means your positive charge is increasing, right? इसलिए यहाँ पे +2 का +3 होगा, क्योंकि you are losing electrons. So a new definition of oxidation is, oxidation means losing one or more than one electrons. Okay, so एक नया definition मिल गया oxidation का। Okay, so again in this particular slide तुम्हें ये सब याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है, ये सब सिर्फ अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए। What you need to remember is ऑक्सीडेशन का एक दूसरा डेफिनेशन भी होता है, और दूसरा डेफिनेशन है इलेक्ट्रॉन्स को लूज करना। All that's all you need to remember. Okay, then what is reduction reaction? So if you observe this particular chemical reaction carefully, what you will notice is vegetable oil, when it combines with hydrogen, it gives you vanaspati ghee. Okay, so oil plus hydrogen is giving you ghee. So reactant is combining with hydrogen, right? पहले oxidation के लिए क्या पढ़ा था? When it is either combining with oxygen or it is giving away hydrogen, it is called as oxidation reaction. अब यहाँ पे उल्टा हो रहा है, हाइड्रोजन इज नॉट बीइंग लॉस्ट, हाइड्रोजन कंबाइन हो रहा है। सो हाइड्रोजन जब कंबाइन होता है, इट इज ऑपोजिट ऑफ ऑक्सीडेशन, और उसको हम लोग रिडक्शन भी बोलते हैं। ओके, सो केमिकल रिएक्शन इन विच रिएक्टेंट्स गेन हाइड्रोजन आर कॉल्ड रिडक्शन रिएक्शन। सिमिलरली द रिएक्शन इन विच reactant loses oxygen to form the product is also called reduction reaction. Okay, so oxidation reaction क्या था? या तो ऑक्सीजन कंबाइन होना चाहिए या फिर हाइड्रोजन लूज होना चाहिए. व्हाट इज रिडक्शन रिएक्शन? या तो हाइड्रोजन कंबाइन होना चाहिए या फिर ऑक्सीजन लूज होना चाहिए. एग्जैक्टली ऑपोजिट ऑफ ईच अदर. ओके, ऑक्सीडेशन रिएक्शन एंड reduction reaction, both of them are opposites of each other. That you need to remember. Okay. Another thing, जैसे ऑक्सीडाइजिंग एजेंट या फिर ऑक्सीडेंट पढ़ा था. व्हाट वाज ऑक्सीडाइजिंग एजेंट और ऑक्सीडेंट? Chemical or any substance because of which oxidation reaction is taking place, that is called as oxidation agent or oxidant. Similarly, a substance because of which reduction is taking place is called as reductant or reducing agent. Okay, very similar to oxidation. Okay, let us move ahead. We'll do a experiment. Okay, so here I have a black powder of copper oxide. Cu is copper, O is oxide. So copper oxide का जो color होता है black color होता है, तो उसका powder ले लिया हम लोग ने. What we're going to do is we're going to put that powder in a tube and we're going to pass hydrogen gas from it. Okay, हम लोग ने क्या किया, copper oxide ले लिया, उसका powder बना दिया, and we are going to keep it in a tube and we're going to pass hydrogen gas from it. And to speed up the chemical reaction, we're going to heat it. अगर तुम लोग उस temperature increase करोगे तो speed of chemical reaction is going to increase, right? So let us start doing that. So we are putting flames and we are starting to heat copper oxide in the presence of oxygen. Remember, इस ट्यूब में से ऑक्सीजन गैस पास हो रहा है. So what do you observe is यहाँ पे पानी के droplets दिख रहे हैं, small small droplets you all can see, right? So those droplets are basically water molecules. Okay, and if you keep doing this reaction, if you continue this reaction for a little longer, what you're going to observe is calcium oxide powder gets converted into, sorry, not calcium, copper oxide powder gets converted into pure copper. Okay, pure copper का color हमें पता है, right? It is brownish color, brownish or golden color. So you get pure copper again. And how does it look like? This is what it will look like once you start tapping the tube and you start taking out the leftover powder inside. You can see copper oxide has now turned into copper. Okay, so which reaction is taking place over here? This is the reaction. Okay, copper oxide was combining with hydrogen, right? And we were heating it to increase the speed of the reaction. So what do we get? We get pure copper and oxygen comes with hydrogen to give you water, and water molecules यहाँ पे दिख रहे हैं, right? Small small bubbles we are seeing of water molecules. Okay, so my question now is, which type of reaction is this? We have studied two reactions, right? We have studied oxidation reaction, we have studied reduction reaction. So oxidation में या तो ऑक्सीजन के साथ कंबाइन होना चाहिए या तो हाइड्रोजन लूज होना चाहिए. रिडक्शन के लिए हाइड्रोजन के साथ कंबाइन होना चाहिए या ऑक्सीजन लूज होना चाहिए. तो ये कौन सा रिएक्शन है? आई एम गोइंग टू वेट फॉर 5 सेकेंड्स फॉर यू टू पॉज द वीडियो एंड टेल मी ये ऑक्सीडेशन रिएक्शन है या रिडक्शन रिएक्शन है. ओके, आई विल वेट फॉर 5 सेकेंड्स. Okay, I hope you paused the video and have tried to figure out ये oxidation reaction है या reduction reaction है. Okay, and I hope you have your answers ready. So now let us analyze this particular equation. So if I see copper, let me see only copper. Okay, so copper is losing oxygen. Copper के साथ यहाँ पे oxygen था, copper ने oxygen lose कर दिया. So losing oxygen is a reduction reaction. But that's not the end of story here. कॉपर ऑक्सीडाइज हो रहा है, सॉरी कॉपर रिड्यूस हो रहा है. क्यों? क्योंकि उसने ऑक्सीजन लूज कर दिया. बट एट द सेम टाइम सी हाइड्रोजन, हाइड्रोजन यहाँ पे अकेला था और यहाँ पे हाइड्रोजन के साथ ऑक्सीजन कंबाइन हो गया. सो व्हेनेवर ऑक्सीजन कंबाइंस विथ अ पर्टिकुलर रिएक्टेंट, इट इज कॉल्ड एन ऑक्सीडेशन रिएक्शन. सो यहाँ पे कॉपर रिड्यूस हो रहा है बिकॉज इट इज लूजिंग ऑक्सीजन एंड हाइड्रोजन इज बीइंग ऑक्सीडाइज्ड बिकॉज इट इज गेटिंग ऑक्सीजन. सो ऑक्सीडेशन रिएक्शन भी है, रिडक्शन रिएक्शन भी है. So if your answer was both, it is oxidation reaction also and it is reduction reaction also, then you were correct. If you said only oxidation, you were wrong. If you said only reduction, you were wrong. Okay, ये दोनों reactions एक साथ एक ही reaction में हो रही है. Okay, so that's what they are explaining here. An oxygen atom goes away from copper oxide. Oxygen atom copper से चला गया. That's why it is reduction. Oxygen जब lose होता है तब reduction बोलते हैं. But at the same time, हाइड्रोजन मॉलिक्यूल टेक्स अप ऑक्सीजन मॉलिक्यूल, हाइड्रोजन के पास पहले ऑक्सीजन नहीं था, फिर बाद में ऑक्सीजन ले लिया हाइड्रोजन ने, तो जब भी हाइड्रोजन कंबाइन होता है इट इज कॉल्ड एज अ ऑक्सीडेशन रिएक्शन, राइट? सो ऑक्सीडेशन एंड रिएक्शन अकर साइमल्टेनियसली, दोनों साथ में हो रहा है, ओके? तो सच अ रिएक्शन इज कॉल्ड अ रीडॉक्स रिएक्शन, ओके? रिडक्शन कैसा, नाम कैसे बना है देखो, आर ई यानी रिडक्शन, डॉक्स, डॉक्स यानी, ओके नो, RED is reduction, okay, RED is reduction, OX is oxidation, so redox is reduction reaction, okay? reduction बोला मैंने, redox reaction, okay? So when oxidation and reduction both take simultaneously, एक साथ एक ही reaction में, we have a special name for that, it is called as redox reaction. And if you take science in your 11th standard and chemistry lab, you will definitely perform this experiment a lot, and a redox reaction comes for the practical exam every time. Every year in 11th standard practical exam for chemistry, you will always have this perform a redox reaction as your exam question, okay? जहाँ पे तुम लोग एक्चुअल में एक्सपेरिमेंट करके दिखाना पड़ता है टीचर को, okay? So now we also know what is redox reaction. So here there are some examples of redox reaction. We have to identify reductants and oxidants. Okay, what are reductants and oxidants? Oxidant क्या है? जिस सब्सटेंस की वजह से ऑक्सीडेशन हो रहा है उसको बोलेंगे ऑक्सीडेंट, और जिस सब्सटेंस की वजह से रिडक्शन हो रहा है उसको बोलेंगे रिडक्टेंट, ओके? आई एम गोइंग टू रिपीट दैट. जिस सब्सटेंस की वजह से ऑक्सीडेशन हो रहा है यू विल कॉल इट एज ऑक्सीडेंट, जिस सब्सटेंस की वजह से रिडक्शन हो रहा है यू विल कॉल इट एज रिडक्टेंट, ओके? सो दो इक्वेशन दे आर टेलिंग यू कि इट्स रिडक्शन रिएक्शन, तुम लोग को क्वेश्चन में दे दिया है कि ये रिडक्शन रिडॉक्स रिएक्शन है, नॉट रिडक्शन, दीज आर रिडॉक्स रिएक्शंस, यानी ऑक्सीडेशन और रिडक्शन दोनों साथ में हो रहा है. तो इन रिएक्शंस में ऑक्सीडेंट कौन सा है और रिडक्टेंट कौन सा है ये बताना है. सो व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू डू इज आई एम गोइंग टू tell you all the answer for the first one, and the second one you all will try by yourself, okay? So let us analyze the first one. Here if you see, this is hydrogen sulfide, right? So H2S, you have H2S over here, and यहाँ पे you only have S. इसका मतलब क्या है? H2S lost its hydrogen, right? H2S का hydrogen चला गया. So hydrogen sulfide or H2S is being, hydrogen चला जाता है यानी क्या? It is being oxidized. So H2S यहाँ पे इस रिएक्शन में ऑक्सीडाइज हो रहा है. So H2S किसकी वजह से ऑक्सीडाइज हो रहा है? SO2 की वजह से ऑक्सीडाइज हो रहा है, राइट? अगर SO2 नहीं होता तो ये ऑक्सीडाइज होता क्या? नहीं होता. So H2S is being oxidized because of SO2. So SO2 is our oxidant. ऑक्सीडाइज कौन हो रहा है? H2S. बट वो किसके वजह से ऑक्सीडाइज हो रहा है? SO2 के वजह से. So SO2 is our oxidant. So अगर तुम लोग का ऑक्सीडेंट SO2 है तो जो बच गया वो तुम लोग का रिडक्टेंट होगा. रिडॉक्स रिएक्शन में दो ही रिएक्टेंट्स होते हैं, राइट? एक ऑक्सीडेंट होता है, एक रिडक्टेंट होता है. सो दैट्स द फर्स्ट वन, आंसर टू द फर्स्ट वन. SO2 इज द ऑक्सीडेंट, और अगर SO2 ऑक्सीडेंट तो ऑब्वियसली दूसरा वाला रिडक्टेंट होगा. ओके, आई आल्सो एक्सप्लेन H2S रिडक्टेंट कैसे है. सी हियर SO2, यहाँ पे SO2 है, उसका क्या बन गया यहाँ पे? गिव मी अ मिनट. ओके, सो हियर SO2 है, SO2 को हाइड्रोजन मिल गया, राइट? ऑक्सीजन को यहाँ पे, ऑक्सीजन के साथ यहाँ पे सल्फर था, वो सल्फर छोड़ के उसको हाइड्रोजन मिल गया. सो व्हेनेवर यू गेट हाइड्रोजन इट मींस रिडक्शन हो रहा है. सो SO2 इज बीइंग रिड्यूस्ड ओवर हियर. SO2 रिड्यूस हो रहा है. SO2 किसकी वजह से रिड्यूस हो रहा है? H2S की वजह से. सो H2S की वजह से रिड्यूस हो रहा है तो H2S रिडक्टेंट हो जाएगा. ओके, तुम लोग को कोई भी एक फाइंड आउट करना है, एक फाइंड आउट कर ले तो दूसरा वाला जो बच गया वो हो जाएगा. ओके, सो नाउ ट्राई द सेकंड वन बाय योरसेल्फ. सेकंड इक्वेशन में कौन सा ऑक्सीडेंट है और कौन सा रिडक्टेंट है, यू हैव टू find out by yourself. I'll wait for 5 seconds for you to do this exercise, okay? And then you can think of your answer, maybe even write your answer लिख के रखो, then you can cross check, okay? Okay, I hope you paused the video and have analyzed that second equation and you know which is the oxidant and which is the reductant. Now let us analyze together, okay? So MnO2, which is manganese, right? I'm not sure. So MnO2 is becoming MnCl2. So इसके साथ Mn के साथ पहले ऑक्सीजन था, वो ऑक्सीजन ना होके अभी Cl है. So MnO2 has lost oxygen. ऑक्सीजन चला गया. ऑक्सीजन लूज करना है यानी रिड्यूस हो गया वो, राइट, MnO2 रिड्यूस हो गया क्योंकि उसका ऑक्सीजन लूज हो गया. सो MnO2 इज बीइंग रिड्यूस्ड. MnO2 किसकी वजह से रिड्यूस हो रहा है? HCl की वजह से. सो MnO2 HCl की वजह से रिड्यूस हो रहा है, यानी HCl इज द रिडक्टेंट. सो HCl विल बी द रिडक्टेंट. और तुम लोग को एक बार पता चल गया कि HCl रिडक्टेंट है तो MnO2 विल बी द ऑक्सीडेंट. ओके, MnO2 will be the oxidant. So that is your answer to the first question of use your brain power given on page number 43. The next two questions are these. Again, these are very simple questions. I think you all should be able to solve them by yourself. Okay, I'm going to wait for again 5 seconds for you to pause the video and write the answer by yourself, and then you can check if the answer is right. If the answer is correct, your confidence level is going to increase. If the answer is wrong, you will understand where you are making mistake and hence you are going to improve. Okay, so make sure you're writing down the answer to both of these questions. Okay, I'll wait for 5 seconds. Okay, I hope you're ready with your answers. Let us check your answers now. If oxidation means losing electrons, oxidation के दो definition देखे थे. First definition क्या है? Combining with oxygen or losing hydrogen. Second definition क्या है? Oxidation means losing electrons. So if oxidation means losing electrons, what does reduction mean? Reduction oxidation का उल्टा है, right? So reduction में अगर electrons lose हो रहे हैं तो sorry, oxidation में अगर electrons lose हो रहे हैं तो reduction उसका उल्टा है, नहीं, electrons gain होने चाहिए, right? So the answer to the second question is reduction means gain of one or more electrons. Oxidation, if oxidation is losing electrons, then reduction is gain of one or more electrons. Okay, that was very simple. Guess करना था क्योंकि reduction oxidation का opposite है, right? Next, answer to the third one. Write the reaction of formation of Fe2 by reduction of Fe3 plus. So again, I had explained you this when I was explaining you the second definition of oxidation, right? So but I did not write down the equation for you. So how will the equation look like? Fe3 plus है, right? Fe3 plus को हमें reduction of Fe3 plus, तो Fe3 plus को reduce करना है यानी उसको इलेक्ट्रॉन गेन होना चाहिए. Fe3 plus को इलेक्ट्रॉन मिलना चाहिए. सो Fe3 plus प्लस इलेक्ट्रॉन लिख दिया मैंने, राइट? Fe3 को हमें रिड्यूस करना है, रिडक्शन ऑफ Fe3. सो रिड्यूस करना था इसलिए हम लोग ने उसको इलेक्ट्रॉन्स गेन करवा दिए. सो Fe3 प्लस प्लस इलेक्ट्रॉन, अभी इलेक्ट्रॉन का -1 चार्ज है और Fe का +3 चार्ज है. सो +3 -1 +3 -1 विल बी +2. सो Fe +2 मिल गया. दैट्स इट. यहाँ पे Fe3 प्लस रिड्यूस होके Fe2 प्लस मिल गया. रिड्यूस क्यों बोल रहा है? क्योंकि उसने एक इलेक्ट्रॉन गेन कर लिया. सो इलेक्ट्रॉन गेनिंग इज ऑल्सो रिडक्शन, राइट? So that's it for this learning session. Just check if you have accomplished today's learning objectives. First, can you compare between oxidation and reaction? And can you contrast? दोनों में क्या difference है? That can you tell by yourself. Okay. Next, can you identify oxidants and reductants if I give you a redox reaction? If I give you a redox reaction, can you identify oxidants and reactants in them? That you have to check for yourself. Okay. So that's it for this learning session. I hope you enjoyed and you understood everything. That's it for this learning session. I hope to see each other. I hope we see each other in the next one. Till then, bye and peace.